You were taught that you need to always be busy, that resting is laziness, that stopping is wasting time. But what if I told you that true strength is not in doing more, but in knowing how to stop? What if what keeps you away from the peace you so desperately seek is not a lack of effort, but too much of it? Look at your life. You run from one commitment to another, trying to be strong for everyone, living tired, but you never feel it's enough. You are afraid of silence because in silence, everything you avoided begins to scream. In silence, the truth appears. But what if I told you that it's precisely there that healing begins? In this video, you won't learn a miraculous technique. You will hear what the modern world doesn't want you to hear. That doing nothing with presence is one of the greatest spiritual arts. What I am going to share with you comes from centuries of Zen wisdom, from masters who went through wars, losses, internal deserts, and discovered that power is not in noise, but in conscious stillness. This video is not just content, it's a call for you to stop, breathe, and remember who you are, without masks, without rush, without pressure. And in the end, you will understand, true freedom begins in your presence. You run so much, have you noticed? You run not to be late. You run not to disappoint. You run even when you're standing still inside. Your mind doesn't stop. It pushes you like a raging river, making you believe that if you stop, you'll sink. But breathe, right now, breathe with me, and tell me, when was the last time you truly were present? I'm not talking about being in a place. I'm talking about being in yourself. The art of doing nothing is not about laziness. It's about presence. It's about allowing the world to unfold for a moment without you trying to fix everything. You are afraid of silence because in silence, someone who's nameless appears. Deep down, you run not because of commitments, but because you are afraid to look inside. You know why many avoid stillness? Because in stillness, the truth appears. And truth sometimes hurts, but also frees. This is why I tell you, sitting under the Bodhi tree, I understood that stillness is not absence of action, it is the origin of all true action. You were taught that you need to always be efficient, that well-meaning people are useful, and that the value of a life lies in productivity. But that is only part of the story. Because human beings weren't made just to produce. They were made to exist, to feel the wind, watch the clouds, listen to the heart. And doing nothing is allowing the soul to breathe. There was a woodcutter, known for his strength and speed. Every day, he cut dozens of trees, tirelessly. But over time, his output began to fall. He tried to compensate by working more, stayed longer, sweated harder. Still, he cut less. A monk passing by observed him and asked, "When was the last time you sharpened your axe?" The woodcutter replied out of breath, "I don't have time for that. I'm too busy cutting trees." The monk smiled with his eyes and said, "That's it. You're trying to win the forest with a dull axe. Do you see? That woodcutter is you. You try to conquer life by force, haste, noise, but you refuse to stop, to be silent, to sharpen your spirit. Stopping is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's stopping chasing everything and starting to see what is already inside. How many times have you searched for happiness outside, in a new job, a relationship, another course, another goal? And how many times, even achieving it, you still felt empty? The answer is not in more. It is in less, in simplicity, in the now. What does stillness teach us? It shows us that anxiety lives in the future, guilt lives in the past, and peace lives only in the present. But to inhabit the present, you need to stop. Even if the world screams it's a waste of time. Do you know what lost time really is? It's living a whole life without ever inhabiting yourself. A woman once told me that she had a nervous breakdown. She was a brilliant executive, perfectionist, busy. One day, her body just simply froze. She couldn't get up. She couldn't work. She could only sit there, on the couch. At first, this terrified her. She felt useless, like a failure, almost dead inside. But in the days that followed, she started to hear what she had ignored for years. Her own breath, the cry stuck in her throat, the dreams she had buried. She told me, "Once I couldn't do anything and I finally started to find myself, I was at peace." And you? How many parts of yourself are screaming for attention? How many feelings have you been pushing down with productivity, distractions, commitments? Maybe it's time to sit, for real, with yourself. The art of doing nothing is sacred. In the Zen tradition, it has a name, Wu-Wei, doing by not doing. It means living in harmony with the flow of life, acting when the time is right, and knowing that the universe also works even when you rest. You are not a machine. You are a living being, and living beings need cycles. Pause, listening, rebirth. If you sit quietly for a long time, the world reveals fully before you. Today, I invite you to do nothing. But do it with intention. Sit for 10 minutes. No phone, no solving anything. Just breathe. Just be. You will notice something miraculous. Life doesn't need to be pushed. It flows. And when you learn to flow with it, what used to be effort becomes lightness. You deserve that. You deserve a time when no one demands anything from you, not even yourself. You deserve to be without having to prove anything. You deserve to rest without guilt. And you deserve to reconnect with something no goal has ever given you: the peace of being present. You live trying to be productive. But have you noticed that deep down, it's also an attempt to be loved? You learned that if you are always available, always efficient, always smiling, people will value you. So you run. Run to fill the emptiness that never disappears. Run to please until you disappear from yourself. But listen with an open heart. You don't need to do anything to be worthy of love. Bamboo grows silently. The river flows without a hurry. The flower blooms effortlessly. None of these rush to prove they are enough. They simply are, and that is already enough beauty. You want peace, but you don't want to stop. And the truth is, peace demands surrender. You can't stay restless inside and expect the world to bring you serenity. Peace won't come from outside. It will come when you create space inside. And there is only one way to do that: stopping. Imagine a lake with crystal clear water. Now take a stick and stir the surface intensely. What do you see? Turbidity, confusion, noise. But if you let go of the stick and just wait, the mud begins to settle. The water becomes clear again. That's your mind. Every time you try to solve everything, think about everything, control everything, you stir the lake. But when The art of doing nothing is an act of courage, because it requires you to face what you've avoided your whole life, and that is where healing is born. We live in the era of hyper-connection and have never been so disconnected from ourselves. Have you noticed? You open your phone without thinking, reply to messages while eating, watch videos while walking, jump from one thought to another like fleeing a fire. But the fire, my friends, is inside. You're not tired of what you do. You're tired of who you have to be all the time. Tired of having to handle everything. Tired of hiding your pain. Tired of smiling on the outside when inside you just want peace. Life is not something you need to master. It's something you can embrace gently. You want answers, but you don't realize you're asking so many questions that you can't hear anything. Silence doesn't answer with words. It answers with peace, with presence, with clarity, with freedom. But for that, you need to sit, wait, trust. A businessman addicted to work came to a Zen monastery seeking performance. He wanted the monks to teach him to be more productive. The master, serene, said, "Sit here, do nothing, and observe your mind." The man grew impatient. "But I came to learn techniques." The master smiled and replied, "As long as you want to do more, you will stay trapped on the same wheel." It took 3 days of silence before the man began to cry. He cried for all he lost trying to win. He cried for the time that never returned. He cried for the peace he denied himself. In the end, he said, "I learned more in 3 days of silence than in 30 years of effort." You can too, but you need to allow yourself to stop fighting life and start dancing with it. The art of doing nothing is allowing life to breathe through you. It's realizing that your worth is not in being useful, but in being whole. You are not a cog. You are a walking miracle. And miracles don't need to justify their existence. Do less, feel more. Run less, witness more. Demand less, love more. And when anxiety comes, and it will, don't fight it like someone trying to chase away a monster. Sit with it. Look it in the eyes. Ask, "What do you want to show me?" Maybe it's trying to tell you that you've lost yourself, and it's time to come back. Silence is not the end. It is the beginning of everything that really matters. You deserve a lighter life. And that lightness isn't in changing the world. It's in changing how you inhabit the world, with more silence, more pause, more presence. You want peace,
but you seek that peace like someone chasing butterflies in the middle of a hurricane. You run, grab, force. But peace, my dear, is not conquered, it's allowed. It's like the sunset. You don't have to do anything for it to happen. You just have to be there, present. The art of doing nothing is in fact the art of being with everything, with what you feel, with what you are, with what exists now, without trying to change, improve, or speed up. But why is that so hard? Because you learned that feeling is dangerous, that stopping is failure, that resting is giving up. But the truth is, only for those who stop does the world reveal itself. Imagine a boatman in the middle of a great lake. A thick fog covers everything. He can't see the shores. He panics and starts rowing desperately in every direction. But the more he rows, the more he gets lost. Anxiety grows, sweat drips, the mind screams, until, exhausted, he stops, lays down the oars, breathes. And then, the fog begins to lift by itself. Silence reveals the shore. That's your life. As long as you row desperately, you won't see anything. But when you stop, the path appears. You're tired, but not just from work. You're tired of carrying the world, of holding back tears, of forcing yourself to exist every day. And no one sees that, right? No one notices how hard you've been trying not to fall. But I see, and Buddha saw too. He saw beyond masks, roles, schedules. He saw the being, and that's where he touched. Today, I want to touch there, on your being, on what doesn't need to do anything to be loved. A monk had a very old bowl. It was his companion at every meal. One day, while washing it, the bowl fell and broke. The monk stood still, looking at the shards on the floor. A novice came running to him and asked, "Master, are you sad?" The monk answered with a serene smile, "No, I am present." And he stayed there, sitting in silence, next to the shards, without trying to glue them together, without trying to run away. Present. How many bowls have you broken in life and pretended nothing happened? How much pain have you swallowed because you had no time or space to feel? Silence is the place where you can sit with your shards, and for the first time, not pretend everything is okay. You need a new rhythm, a gentler rhythm, more connected with real life, not external demands. Life is not a project, it's a gift, and you only open this gift when you are here, whole, slowed down, silent. Right now, look around you. Choose any object, a mug, a leaf, a wall. Observe. See the texture, the color, the reflected light. Now notice your breathing, how the air enters and leaves. No rush, no effort. This moment is all there is. And this is where everything changes. You can do this every day for 2 minutes with no expectations, just to remember that you're alive, and being alive is already a miracle. The ant is an altar, and life kneels before those who know how to inhabit this altar with reverence. Zen teaching. You think you need to change everything in your life, but maybe you only need to change how you live the now, how you breathe, how you feel, how you touch the instant. You don't need to do anything now, nor solve your problems, nor decide your future, nor control anyone. Just breathe, just be, and see how, in the absence of effort, presence begins to bloom. The art of doing nothing is where the soul comes home. You are not here by chance. You didn't click on this video by accident. Your soul is calling, and you heard it. Even if subtly, even in the middle of the rush, even if you still don't know why, the truth is, there is a part of you, silent, ancient, deep, that has always known that peace is not in what you do, but in how you exist. The art of doing nothing is an art of return. Return home, inward, to the now. And that's scary, I know, because when the noise of the world falls silent, what remains? You remain. And sometimes you no longer know who you are, right? But this is also an invitation. The moment you realize you're lost is the moment you can finally find yourself.
In many Buddhist monasteries, serving tea is a sacred ritual. Tea is not rushed. It's not drunk distractedly. First, you observe the cup. Then you feel the warmth. You listen to the sound of the infusion falling. And only then, you savor it. Slowly, present, grateful. This simplicity, for many, is madness. But for those who awaken, it is freedom. You can turn any moment of your life into a ceremonial tea, a bath, a walk, a hug, a breath. Nothing needs to change, only the way you surrender. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. And when you do it with presence, the nothing becomes everything. You no longer need to prove your worth. You think you need to be productive to be loved. You need to be strong not to be rejected. You need to smile not to be forgotten. But whoever taught you this was as lost as you are. Because true love doesn't demand performance, it demands presence. And the love you need most is your own. You abandoned yourself, put everyone else first, ran for everyone, took care of everything, and forgot about yourself. But now it's time to come back, to listen to yourself, to see yourself, to care for yourself as you care for others. You deserve this, even if you don't know how, even if you think it's not the right time, even if guilt screams. Breathe and come back to yourself. Buddha did not shout. He did not rush. He did not pressure anyone. His power was in silence, in the pause before the word, in the look that said more than 1,000 sentences. His presence was so strong that those who approached would calm down, because he didn't carry anxiety. He carried peace. You can be that presence in your home, at your work, in your own body. But this only arises when you learn to stop. The art of doing nothing is where you become whole again. You blame yourself for not coping, but no one was made to handle everything. That's the lie that made you sick. You were made to breathe, to laugh, to walk lightly, to look at the sky and say, "Today I conquered nothing," and that's okay. You are not a goal. You are a soul. and no soul blooms under constant pressure. Pause is the fertilizer of the spirit. It's where wisdom sprouts. It's where creativity returns. It's where you hear the voice that was suffocated for so long, yours. In the sound of silence, I heard who I am. And it wasn't what the world said. It was so much more. Today, if you don't know what to do, don't do anything. Just sit, breathe, feel the pain, the doubt, the life. All of it is you, and you are worthy nonetheless. Don't run to fix yourself. You are not a problem. You are a process. And the most powerful time is the time of pause. Today, you are here, in the now, at the exact point where transformation begins. It's not when you finish something. It's not when it works out. It's now, when you stop, when you breathe with intention, when you allow what you feel, when you give up fighting and decide to simply be. You don't need a new plan. You need a new silence. A silence that is not empty, but fertile. A silence where you can hear what you never had the courage to listen to. You don't need to heal to be loved. You are already worthy, nonetheless. Look at a tree. It doesn't hold on to leaves in autumn. It lets them go and doesn't blame itself for it. Doesn't rush to bloom again. It just trusts the cycle. You, however, want to bloom in winter, want to bear fruit while bleeding inside, want to be strong while barely breathing. But just like the tree, you can also let go. Let go of control. Let go of the hurry. Let go of the burden of having to cope. And just trust that your winter is not failure. It is preparation. The art of doing nothing is the rest of the spirit. You might not notice now, but when you start practicing, even for a few minutes a day, something inside you changes. The mind quiets. Anger softens. The body thanks you. And little by little, you stop being reactive and become conscious. Shall we try? Close your eyes, if you can. Feel your feet on the ground, the air entering your nostrils, the gentle sounds around you. Now, do nothing. Don't try to meditate. Don't try to clear your mind. Just notice. Whatever comes, observe. Thoughts, sounds, heartbeats. You are here, and that's enough. This simple practice can change your life, because when you learn to be with yourself, even for 3 minutes, you learn to come back. Come back from where you always ran away, the present moment. You don't need to do more. You need to feel more. And to feel, you need space. And to have space, you need to learn to stop. Have you noticed how the most beautiful moments in life happen in the pause? The hug that lasts 1 second longer. The silent gaze of someone who loves you. The sunset you almost missed because you were on your phone. Life is full of miracles, but you don't see them because you're too busy trying to conquer them. Stillness is not the end of the journey. It is the gateway to true existence. You have been conditioned to think you only matter if you are moving, but what you really want isn't in movement, it's in presence, peace, love, joy, intuition, health. All of this is born in silence. And silence is not loneliness. It's a deep connection with everything. It's where you hear life, where existence whispers truths that the world muffled.
It's where you hear that gentle voice inside you saying, I am here. I always have been, and I always will be. Yes, you can rest. Even if you haven't done everything. Even if the house is a mess. Even if the world outside says you can't stop. You can, because you are not the world. You are life. And life needs to breathe, to feel, and also to rest. Doing nothing is an act of sacred rebellion. It's refusing to be just another cog. It's telling the world, today I come back to myself. It's remembering that the most precious time is the time when you are whole. You deserve this, even if you don't feel ready, even if you think something's still missing. The truth is, nothing is missing. You only need to be. Imagine now that you're walking barefoot in the forest on wet ground. Each step you take makes a soft sound on the earth. You stop. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. At this moment, nothing is missing. Nothing needs to be done. This state is called Zazen, the seated meditation of Zen. But more than a practice, it's an invitation to sit with yourself without a hurry, without masks, without goals. How many times have you sat with yourself and just stayed? Not with your phone in your hand, not thinking about what you'll post later, but just staying. Current culture hates emptiness. You open your phone and it screams, produce, compare, accelerate. But Zen teaches that emptiness is the cradle of creation. It is in the silence that music is born. It is in the pause that the poem breathes. It is in the nothing that the true everything blooms. Breathe deeply. Feel what has been silent inside you. After all you've heard here, tell me, will you keep running? Or will you, for the first time, stop and simply be? Have you noticed that the emptiness you fear so much could be the bridge to your freedom? That doing nothing in a world that demands everything is an act of courage and presence? So why do you still fight silence?
Buddha said, suffering is born from attachment. And today, you discovered you are attached to movement, hurry, noise. But there is another way, lighter, more alive, more conscious. Now I invite you, during your day, find a moment, just one, to do nothing, to just breathe, to listen to the sound of the world without trying to control it, and see what happens inside you. The question remains, do you have the courage to meet your own silence? If this message touched you, leave in the comments, Buddharma, today I choose stillness. This way, I'll know you're ready to take this step. And if you want to continue on this journey of wisdom, lightness, and awakening, subscribe to the channel now, hit the bell, and share this video with someone who also needs to stop before life forces them to. See you in the next teaching. And until then, remember, you already are what you seek. You only need to listen. Namaste.